It just speaks to how much benefit you get out of going all in as well, which is probably my biggest lesson from last year. It's just like, what happens when you go all in? Because I've always been, even as a coach, like, I can get pretty exceptional results with people that are like 80, 90%.
Yeah, well, it's funny. You were talking about that at some point, either earlier in the year or maybe the year before. I can't remember. And we had the discussion on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, I agree with you to a certain point.
Yeah.
But I've also, because I coach them, see what happens when you go 100% in.
Yeah. And it's exponential.
That 10%'s huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like compounding, right? Because it's like the between 90 and 100, the results you get isn't 1% for 1%.
Correct. And you get so many more tools to play with.
Yes.
Because the timeline changes, because the efficacy changes, because the level of detail that you can apply changes.
The margins are just smaller, so the impact is greater.
Yeah.
Like if you like, because you're dealing with finer margins, but they make a really big impact.
Yeah.
You're changing something one day, you can see it tomorrow.
Correct.
So
yeah, because it's perfect.
Yeah, but that's what that 90 or even 95 to 100 gives you. Mm-hmm. Like it gives you that almost like instant feedback. Yeah. That's why like in those peak weeks and even with Matt now, like we're checking in every day. Because I'm like, we can make a change and almost see it instantly. Yeah. Because that's the beauty of having those people. Yeah. But you obviously only, like, that's the only way you look that way.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like, I think you can be stronger than most people on the planet, look better at the beach than most people on the planet, tracking your macros, go on the gym 4 times a week.
So are you saying most of the magic around the leanness all year lies with the nutrition? Would you say that, like, that is the most influential part?
I think if you're worried about this conversation, you're already sleeping 7 to 9 hours, getting your workouts in, managing your stress. Like, you're not paying attention to this if you're not.
I absolutely agree. Because like, I think you would like still train the same.
Doing a 9-week bulk and training 2 to 4, like, it doesn't.
I think you'd still train the same too.
Yeah,
and like, I know, and that's another reason why.
Well, even with the 3-week cut, you don't have to make a change to your training because you're not depleted enough.
No, and even like if you look at your method though as well, like you still train the same. And I think that there's always value in that, because I just like the idea that, like, a program that builds muscle preserves it, so it shouldn't really change.
Yeah.
But how many people have you seen or worked with, and even maybe you've done it in the past when you did that whole bulk and cutting thing, where like you did kind of skimp out a little bit in your build? Because I know a lot of people who like don't train hard in their build.
Yeah.
Like they think that like just adding the calories and like, the weight is muscle.
I have consciously been aware of it because the fire isn't the same, because the mental drive is lower because I'm full.
Yeah.
And like there's obviously a mechanism for it, but there's some kind of drive that is there. And again, with the entrepreneurs not being jacked, like how many people have you heard, like, I need to be just a little bit hungry?
Yeah. Even just I'm the same. I like, if I got a big day, I'm like, I almost don't want to eat.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like as soon as I eat, the brain fog and shit, and then I'm like, fuck, everything takes twice as long.
Your brain is designed to be like, get the fucking food. And then when you have the food, it's like, all right, you can relax.
Yeah, time to chill, yeah.
So, like, if you've got all the food and then it's like, okay, now kill yourself on this exercise right now.
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't have to because I'm full.
Yeah.
So I've actually been really conscious when it comes to last week's episode about, like, tracking your weight and all that kind of stuff. It's like, what'd you do last week? Do it again. I don't care that you feel a little bit sluggish.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest one for me this is the first time. Granted, I was doing a specific cardio session a week.
Yeah.
And for the last 4 weeks, I think I pushed steps pretty hard.
Yeah.
But I have barely missed a 10,000 step day since the shoot.
Yeah, I agree. I've kept my cardio regimen in the same outside of like those output sessions. Like my steps have been exactly the same. Still walk MAV, still do some treadmill after training.
Yeah.
I still kind of walk around the gym in between my sets. So I can absolutely test to more daily activity being a really good strategy to manage your body composition. So I would say the things we're talking about here is like nutrition. Sorry, trying to keep us on track here. Got lots of stuff. So I would say looking at everything, training is the same, and you've got to bring the intensity. Nutrition's where like most of the impact is for us here, because it's like we've got to be really onto what strategy we're deploying and for the time frame. And then we've kind of mentioned that daily activity is hugely influential, not just for like the physical outcomes, but I know you experience the same thing as me, like good mental clarity, good on your joints, good for your posture, all of those things. And then the one thing we haven't really spoken about, which kind of everything falls under, is the planning and the periodization. Yeah. So if we took it, sorry guys, if you just forget everything that we just spoke about, if you go here and talk about planning and periodization, everything falls under that. Yeah. How to stay lean and strong and looking good all year round, you need good planning and periodization. Yeah. Because if you look at your plan, you go, it's the same. You go, the plan is week 1, we do this, week 2, we do this, 3, we do this, then 4, then we do it again. And we do that 3 times. And then in that program, I'm going to do 4 or 5 days a week. And this is where I'm going to periodize, like my program's going to look, etc. I'm doing, this is what my program looks like. This is where I'm going to train. These are my weak points. I'm going to do 10 weeks of this at this many calories, measure my body weight, and just slightly adjust it. On the 13th week, we're pushing the body weight. This is what it looks like. Yeah. So it's already mapped out. We've got deadlines. Yes, we have Thailand, which is great. That's why we create photo shoots and other opportunities for our clients to work towards if they don't have holidays and shows, etc. Because we can do that. Yeah. And then it's on us and the person and the lifter to keep us true to the timeline. Yeah. And it's based on those ambitions. And then like we spoke about, it's like voicing what pushing the body weight looks like for someone. I think you need to be really clear on that. And especially for the girls. And I know that because I experience it with them. The boys can kind of see a bit of value in pushing their size and getting a bit soft, but I also feel like fashion allows them to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Praise oversized tees.
Correct. Yeah. And then for the ladies, it's just not probably worth it for them. Yeah. So you've just got to know where the top end is. And then you go, okay, cool, we push, we push, we push, we pull back,
That waist measurement graph is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where you were when you started dieting last time. This is where you got to. I know you've put on 1, 2, 3 centimeters on your waist and you feel fat. You're 3 centimeters leaner than when we started. Yeah. And it's like, okay. Yeah. So if we started dieting now and you lost the same 6 centimeters, you'd have a 3 centimeters smaller waist.
Yeah.
We good? We're good. Yeah. And then we move on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I feel like we kind of gave a bit of an inside sports into the moving parts. Like it can be done. You just have to understand what's going to benefit you the most. Yeah. And are you willing to work on are you willing to work with the trade-offs? So you can still push muscle an exceptional amount of body weight, but there's just going to become a point where you've got to deal with the fuel to keep you going is like the 9-month later after photo, where for you and I it's just like dipping your toes in and out, being in control of your nutrition, being diligent with everything, dotting I's, crossing T's, having a plan like this works better. Yeah. And then we also never get to a point where we're just like, I don't want to take my shirt off. I don't feel comfortable. Yeah. And I'm just not.
And the interesting thing is you have this conversation. I posted my photo of 2014.
Yeah.
Well, I looked like when I was 24.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have the energy, but I wanted to write the biggest
story.
This is what bad genetics look like. Stop posting, look at me at 16. Having never trained before, man. That fucking does me. The transformation. This is a year. I've been in the gym for a year. Fucking less than 70 kilos.
I love the pre-puberty before pic. It's like, bro, you were always going to get bigger because your balls hadn't dropped yet.
I'd never trained before. Look how bad my genetics were. I ate like an arsehole. Look how bad. You just didn't live a lifestyle yet.
Yeah. Like this is someone who actually tried.
Yeah.
And what they look
like.
And
then in a year's time, I looked fucking phenomenal. Yes, that means you're a high responder. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't even remember where I was going. So telling that person to optimize getting as big as possible in a 12-month time period, this is what you need to do. I don't give a fuck about staying lean all year round.
No, but
I'm willing to pay the price on the other side.
Yeah, but they still can. It's just there. You know what I mean? Like, there's this guy at the gym, like, he's just shredded all the time. I'm like, mate, if I had you, I would just... You could put on 15 kilos and still look lean.
Yeah.
It's just about knowing what that is for the person.
Yeah.
And then, the one thing you just don't want to have is, like, someone who just is working hard but just not happy. Like, if you're trying to cut because you started... Let's say, we'll end it like this, right? You started your journey to look better. You should be progressively working towards that, whether it's dropping body fat or increasing muscle size. Yep. You should never be like looking at yourself going, fuck, I'm not happy with this, but I really hope I get there. Yeah. And you can't see any progression. Like, does that make sense? Like, you can't see the end outcome actually happening. Like, that should just never be an option. Yeah. I hope we delivered on that.
I think it was interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's leave it there because we've got another podcast to get to. Lots of talking today. All right, guys. So, as always, leaving with a motivational quote because I'm prepared today. So, the biggest productivity strategy in the modern world is getting ruthlessly clear about what it is that you want to do and then culling everything that doesn't contribute to it. The man himself, Chris Williamson. The man himself. So if you want to, like, identify what you want, identify what's going to help you get there, identify what's not going to get there, and then remove as many of those things as possible. Yeah, some of the things you may not be able to. Let's be real.
Lessen your exposure.
Well, that's it. You can just lessen the exposure for the period of time.
Yeah,
and it's like, how beneficial would that be if you limited those exposures and went all in on something? Where would your physique be? Where could your life be? Where could your business be? All that stuff. Like, that's the only part of this that's unrelated to just fitness. You guys have at it, and we'll see you next time.